Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are played in Halloween Cup because it's that or Open Great League, and we have Open Great League all the time. So when I have another cup to play, I'm going to play that cup. So I am leading with Drapion. Drapion is not a Pokemon you've seen me use before because I haven't used it before. But I was trying, I was running into a lot of people who were running a Poison Dark as a safe swap. And of those safe swaps, Drapion seemed like the best. So you know me, if something makes a good safe swap, I do like running it in the lead. So, yeah, opening with Drapion. I have Azu in the back. This is my rank 1 XL Azu. And I have a Dragalge, which you've also never seen me use because that Dragalge there is my Dex Dragalge. Like, I built that for here. But I have been having a lot of fun with this team. Drapion seems super, super strong. When I found that it was being used by a lot of people as a safe swap, I was like, all right, what's the hard counter to Drapion? Because it just seems like, if Drapion comes in and gets an energy lead, it can be difficult to switch out. There's a lot of things can absorb poison and dark and hurt Drapion back. So, yeah, came up mostly empty on hard counters. Like, some of the hardest counters were Mawile and Escavalier, which I had used in the backline. But there are conditions under which they can lose also. Like if Drapion just picks up a bit too much of an energy lead, or if it has a shield advantage. It's just... It was hard to find something to actually shut Drapion down. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll run Drapion. So, opening with Drapion, you can outpace a lot of things. So there's going to be a lot of times where it makes sense to start, pushing things into the multi-shield. But you really just have to get a good feel for how to use Drapion and when to store its energy, when to switch out. Drapion Azu managed to take down the entire team, the entire opposing team in that first game. But let's talk about this game too. So Drapion into Mawile. Mawile is one of the things that I've cited as being very strong as Drapion. I stayed in for like one fast move to confirm what the fast move was, and then I swapped out into Dragalge. So my opponent brought in his own Dragalge, and since we were desynced on our Dragon Tails, I opted to throw my Aqua Tail there, and I was able to sneak in Dragon Tail after that when they were throwing. So if I just no-shield that, my Dragon Tail registers, and I actually am able to win switch there. So that's fine. I'm going to be able to unload this Aqua Tail into Mawile, Shadow Mawile, so it does take, some chip damage. And yeah, winning switch means that I can bring Azu out. Azu is a very good wall to Mawile. The Iron Head or the Play Rough will hit for neutral, and I mean, it doesn't not hurt. But my opponent is going to swap out of that and to save his Mawile for Drapion and going to bring out Crustle. Crustle is... Crustle goes fairly neutral-ish to Drapion, but Drapion obviously is going to outpace Crustle quite a bit. So I'm just going to spam out that Crunch. I get the defense drop, which is nice, but not really necessary. I no-shield the Rock Slide because I know I'm going to be able to reach this Crunch anyway. And since I'm able to get here, they can use their last shield here if they wanted to, and probably will. Yes, they do. But, after that defense drop, Azu's bubbles are doing kind of a lot now. I'm going to be able to bubble the whole way down. I can shield this pretty safely. If I hadn't snuck in a bubble there when they threw, I might have had to think about it because it's possible they could have tried to bait an X-Scissor and land a Rock Slide. But it's just, it's way too much, and Azu's able to take out Mawile. Because even though Mawile resists both of my Azu's moves, Shadow Mawile is just kind of squishy. Next up against Softoph. Shout out to Softoph, the alternate on my Sylph faction, the Elite TMs. Always good to encounter my teammates out in the wild. So she is opening Frostlass. Frostlass was another Pokemon that I had considered opening with, but ultimately I had settled on Drapion because it's a little bit faster, and there are fewer things that it has very little play against. Like, Fire Fang Mawile would be even more of a problem for Frostlass than it already is for Dragalge. And that's already kind of difficult. So she's going to safe swap into a Skuntank, and I am not going to shield this first move. Crunch, even from a Shadow Skuntank, hurts, but it doesn't kill. And but since I don't want to actually lose Switch here, because if I can win Switch, that would be fantastic. I'm going to throw that Aqua Tail kind of early before I end up too low to encourage her to not shield it. And now Frostlass is going to come out. That's fine. I'm going to throw this Aqua Tail. It is going to do not really much chip damage, and I'm going to get farmed down, which is unfortunate because Frostlass with energy is pretty scary. So now I'm going to bring out Drapion. I'm going to spam out this Crunch. I know I'm going to end up losing CMP and going to have to shield, but as long as I spammed out my move, it's not like she'll be able to escape with Frostlass after that. And I am going to outpace if she stays in. So I throw one, looks like Soph lagged a little, so did not get to throw anything, but that's okay. I'm going to land this Crunch. Would have landed it anyway, and if she had swapped out to a Azumarill to catch, I would have ended up charging up to a Sludge Bomb anyway. Throwing the Sludge Bomb, it would do devastating damage, and I'd be able to switch out to Azu and like around here-ish and throw one Play Rough and farm the rest of the way down, have energy left over for Frostlass. So unfortunate the way that went, but it was going to go that way anyway. But yeah, into this next battle. All right, next up against Jason Caruso. Drapion into Toxicroak. Toxicroak is a pretty hard counter to, like an actual really hard counter to Drapion, one of the hardest counters in Halloween Cup. I'm going to swap out to Dragalge, which isn't really even a great counter to Toxicroak because you have to shield the Mud Bombs. And my opponent is going to bring out his own Drapion. So I am going to throw this Aqua Tail here. I have Fast Move denied and actually successfully denied the Dragon Tail from coming through. And now I'm going to throw this next Aqua Tail, again successfully denying the Dragon Tail. He's going to let this go, and we're going to simultaneous KO. So I got a shield back. I've gotten rid of the switch advantage that my opponent was going to have. And his Dragalge went down with all of that energy. So really, really good counter swap for me, the way that worked out, and I'm really glad I shielded that Mud Bomb. Gonna bring out Frostlass, and I'm gonna throw this Play Rough, which is not really necessary. Like, I could have just, and should have probably just swapped out Dragalge. Like, best case scenario here, obviously, would be catching a Shadow Ball because Azu is gonna resist Avalanche, so she can't throw Avalanche. And Drapion resists Shadow Ball, so if I can catch the Shadow Ball, that would be fantastic. I'm going to get this last shield. Throw one, try to switch out, try to make that catch, and I definitely did not do it there. This is going to be an Avalanche. It does that much damage. Not even that much. Gonna throw these Poison Stings. Switches out to Toxicroak to catch this Crunch. So gonna land resisted. I'm not gonna undercharge it because Tox still had quite a bit of health. And it's actually just the right amount for me to be able to farm down. I guess if I had been able to throw one more Poison Sting, it would have been a little bit better, but this is also fine. Frostlass is gonna be forced to throw the Avalanche here. And I'm going to just barely get to my Ice Beam right before I bubbled this Frostlass down. I think Frostlass is only one away from her charge move also. So that's a GG. That was really, really close. I definitely got a little bit lucky there with how much health was left over on Tox. If it had been 0, I would have been dead. All right, Drapion into Zweilous. So Zweilous is kind of a problem for Drapion. I'm going to switch out to Dragalge, which isn't really a great counter either. But my opponent is going to counter swap anyway to maintain alignment. Going to bring in Shadow Scissor. Shadow Scissor is turning out to be very popular in this cup, much more so than I expected it to be. I would survive this Night Slash, so I am going to no shield this one. Also, under tap to get to throw this Aqua Tail, just meaning I'm going to hold off on tapping until my energy registers from the fast move I had snuck through, and my opponent decides to maintain switch advantage at the cost of 2 shields. So I am okay with that. I am going to bring out my Drapion, and I am going to no shield this. It's another Night Slash. He's going to switch out to Zweilous, and I'm throwing this energy here, which is a total waste. Like, I should definitely just immediately swap to Azu and bank that energy. There was absolutely no reason to throw that. because Azu can just play rough, hits for double super effective, and would definitely take Zweilous out in one hit. So all of the damage that I did with that Sludge Bomb was just completely wasted, utterly pointless waste of energy. So I'm going to build up as much energy as I can before I throw this Ice Beam. I considered zero bubbling it, but like I'm just going to bubble a few anyway because I think they would have KO'd regardless. And I don't want to have to take another Body Slam. Like, I already am kind of low on health everywhere, and I have 2 shields. There's no reason to push my luck on that matter. So, brings out Nidoqueen, and then switches to Sizer to make a catch. I'm going to undercharge here, and that was about the right amount. I have 2 shields, so I'm going to shield this, even though I'm really confident it was a Night Slash, and it turned out to actually be an Iron Head, so good thing I shielded that. And yeah, I'm just going to bring out Drapion to get a little bit of a jump start on energy. Have to be very careful with that, because Drapion's Poison Sting does like next to nothing in terms of damage. Going to be able to get this Crunch out after no shielding. And now that that's landed, I got the defense drop, which is not really necessary or helpful anyway. I'm going to have to shield this. And I just need to get out 2 bubbles so I can get to my Ice Beam. I really wish I could have gotten in a free bubble, but it turned out I actually only needed 1 bubble. Never mind. So I'm going to be able to reach this Ice Beam, and I'm going to take that game. That's a GG. But yeah, I definitely didn't need to waste that energy with Drapion. Throwing that Sludge Bomb, there was no point. There was no point. And it's not like that was a Pokemon that I didn't know that he had. Like, I should have been ready to switch in, you know, if there was ever a Zweilous swap. But yeah, you know, sometimes you're not really used to running a team, and the meta is still fresh to you. You can still make mistakes. It's all right. So for whatever reason, I didn't skip my catching of this Rhydon. I guess it's because I got it there, and that's a 5 out of 5. So gonna climb there. I started these sets at 3105. That was like, I think it was on like page 9 of the leaderboard. I wasn't really doing amazing in Open Great League before. But yeah, let's try to climb in this specialty cup. So I start off with a desync loss of 1 turn here. So I'm gonna have to just let my opponent throw first, and then that'll put us back into alignment. Gonna have to eat that Crunch, and that's fine. I managed to fast move deny. So at this point, we're now on even energy and even turns. So I'm not able to sneak a fast move in there, and that is okay. I'm gonna eat this Crunch also. Drapion is just, it's hard to bring anything in, and my opponent sneaks in a Poison Sting. So now I'm behind. So none of us has gotten the debuff. I would just barely survive this Crunch and be able to throw my own. My Drapion is... Oh, wait, never mind, I don't. All right, so I'm going to bring out Dragalge instead, and I am going to farm Drapion down. He's going to reach another Crunch because Drapion is just really, really spammy. I'm going to no-shield it, and they get the defense drop, which is okay. He's going to bring out his own Dragalge. I should have just insta-swapped maybe. But I'm going to end up eating 1 Dragon Tail after being, you know, after having had my defense drop. It actually does kind of hurt. And I swapped in Azu and was met with a Jellicent. So this is a bubble Jellicent, so it doesn't really outpace Azu at all. Going to throw this Play Rough. Like, I didn't want to shield the first move. As long as I don't shield the first move from Jellicent, it is okay. A lot of Jellicents seem to just be running Double Nuke, Ice Beam, and Shadow Ball. There have not been a lot of them running Bubble Beam, from what I've seen. Gonna shield this next Shadow Ball. I throw this Play Rough, not letting my opponent sneak in a bubble, so that is fantastic. And I get the last shield there. So all I really need to do at this point is throw out this last bubble, and yeah, I can build up an Ice Beam Dragalge. It shouldn't really be a problem here. I shield that, and I should just throw the Play Rough immediately. I'm over farming because I don't know, I lost track of how much energy my opponent had. So yeah, and now this is gonna go through when I have like no health left anymore. Like I would have been completely safe if I could have just spammed it out right away. Maybe not completely safe because this Dragalge actually does still have a lot of energy, of health. But I would have been in a much, much better spot. It was an easily winnable game that I just completely threw because I don't know, I'm not used to the team. Forgot my counts on Jellicent. and was just being greedy, building up extra energy. There was absolutely no need for that. I don't know why I'm playing so badly. So next up, Drapion into Qwilfish. So this is a water gun Qwilfish. So yeah, it can definitely hurt Drapion quite a bit. I'm going to no shield this first Aqua Tail, get a feel for how much it does, and the answer is quite a bit. And now I'm just going to throw this Crunch. I was anticipating they were going to switch out at some point and try to make a catch, but that did not happen. Going to throw one extra, and now I'm going to throw this Crunch when I have pretty low energy, but before they get to their next move, and they opt to shield. So I'm just going to let them Water Gun me down. That's fine. I'm going to bring in Dragalge, which is somewhat a wall to Qwilfish, unless they're carrying Ice Beam. Most Qwilfish aren't. I'm going to shield this anyway. The Sludge Wave, if it hit, would do about 50%. So it's still worth a shield, just because, you know, that's a lot of health, and you don't know what's back there. There's a lot of people running ample poison, so, you know, it doesn't feel super safe to leave yourself with your thing that resists poison at low health, since most poison types do damage with fast move pressure. And if I left Dragalge with low health and Azu with shields, I'd be really vulnerable to a poison jab backline. So that's, you know, just one of the reasons I opted to shield there. Gonna land that and then switch out to Azu, and it is a Shadow Scissor in the back, so yeah, I guess it was fine, but I mean, still probably made sense to shield Dragalge. That Sludge Bomb would have done more than the Iron Heads from Sizer do. Sizer? I don't know. So just gonna throw this Ice Beam. It looks like I'm baiting, but I'm really not even. Like, all I really need to do is land one Ice Beam, and Sizer has to throw an Iron Head to take me out. Look at how much that does. If this doesn't KO, like if this is a Night Slash, it doesn't even KO, and I'll be able to bubble down. Sizer faints there, and I bubble down Pawniard, and that's a GG. So Qwilfish double steal. But yeah, Pawniard is pretty expensive. I think it's only okay. I don't know. Some people swear by Pawniard. It's only all right. It's not worth the investment. Not for this cup anyway. All right, Drapion into Mandibuzz. This is like a kind of lost-ish lead. I have a little bit of lag there, so I have no idea if my opponent snuck in a move or not. In a game working perfectly scenario where nobody sneaks in anything or lags a bunch, Drapion can maybe, if your Drapion's IVs are pretty good, can reach the last Sludge Bomb before being fainted. I actually did and could have thrown the Sludge Bomb, but for whatever reason I opted for Crunch. I didn't think I was going to make it, but that's really what it was. But yeah, I definitely could have thrown it. They ended up shielding anyway, but I mean, yeah, should really have thrown the Sludge Bomb. Anyway, I'm going to bring Azu in to this Mandibuzz, and it is in a fine farm down range, so I'm just going to bubble the whole way down, end with, I think, just shy of 100 energy. Can obviously take this Aerial Ace, it's fine, and end with exactly 100 energy and not with a bubble wasted. And an Azumarill comes out, so that's actually a pretty decent receptacle for Azumarill's energy. I'm going to throw this Play Rough. I'm a little bit ahead. The good thing about this is that my Azu is not in Bubble plus Play Rough range. Like, my opponent's going to end up having to throw a Play Rough and an Ice Beam if they want to take out my Azu. After landing my 2 Play Roughs, the Azu is pretty much down to my health, and I'm actually just going to shield here because it's difficult for Dragalge to take out an Azu, and yeah, I had 2 shields, so why not? Gonna throw this Play Rough right here, and my opponent's gonna no shield. So since this was a CMP tie that my opponent managed to lose, even though my Azu is rank 1, just gonna take that and then switch out to Dragalge, and there's a Nidoqueen in the back, so this is fine. Really important, I'd say really important alignment, but that's not really what it was. Just they couldn't bring out Nidoqueen because my Azu had so much energy, so just good situation, because if these roles had been reversed and if Nidoqueen came out into my Azu and their Azu ended up paired against my Dragalge, that would have been really rough for me. But just, you know, me being able to get my alignment because of how much energy I had built up on Azu turned out to be enough to win me this match. And yeah, that's a GG. All right. Next up against Ina Klein. Drapion into Nidoqueen. This is a pretty favorable-ish matchup, sort of. Not really. Like, you have to take it to the multi-shield. If you get baited, it's really bad. If they land the Earth Power, you die. It's actually not that fantastic of a matchup. It's just variable. So I get the defense drop, which is good because this is a non-shadow Nidoqueen, so I will be able to take them out into... I shield in the... And he actually threw the Earth Power. Like, I was really expecting that I was going to be shielding a bait. It just felt like there was a really high probability of that. My opponent switches in Toxicroak, and for whatever reason, I stayed in with Drapion and threw a Crunch, which is totally unnecessary. Again, kind of a waste of energy. I definitely need to be a lot better about not throwing my Drapion's energy. Although it does end up saving me a shield because I'm able to just Dragon Tail the whole way down with Dragalge. If Nidoqueen comes back out, he'll end up having to eat 2 of these Aqua Tails, which would be pretty bad. So Sableye's going to come out instead. I am going to throw 2 more Dragon Tails, and now I'm just going to throw this Aqua Tail. It would not really do that much, but I get a shield, so that is fantastic. And now I can just bring out Azu. Nidoqueen comes out. I'm going to let this first move go, and then swap in Drapion after that, just because I haven't been debuffed yet. And I want to save my shield in case I need to shield a return. So yeah, my opponent is going to no-shield that, and this is just a Poison Fang also, so I'm going to let this go, and I'm actually just going to Poison Sting the whole way down, which is not something you're normally able to do, but managed to, and Klein is just going to resign the game. That's a GG. Yeah, alright, next up against Momo Shoyu. Drapion into Shadow Scissor. So we saw this before. There's a variance in how my opponents have been playing this. Some of them opt to just straight throw the Night Slash. I guess some of them also are just straight throwing the X Scissor. So yeah, there's variable moveset. Some Shadow Scissors, especially in the lead, are actually carrying X Scissor. I have not noticed one in the back not carrying the normal set of Night Slash Iron Head, but in the lead, yeah, there is some variance to that. Some people who are playing Night Slash just go straight Night Slash, don't even build up to the Iron Head first. And in that case, I tended to no shield. Even though it turned out to be an X Scissor, I still would have been able to reach 2 moves if they didn't throw something. So instead they opted to switch into Umbreon. They caught a move, but I was able to farm up more energy with Drapion before switching out to Azu, which kind of walls Umbreon's energy, sort of, even though the last resorts do hurt. I throw one too many bubbles for whatever reason, building up to over 100 energy and wasting a little bit before throwing that. And now they're going to switch out to their own Azu. That is fine. I'm going to throw 1 Play Rough, just kind of stall for time and not give him too much time to build up energy. And now I'm just going to wait for Azu to throw energy first before switching out to my Drapion. So they throw that, and I switch in Dragalge. What am I doing in this game? I mean, I don't have to shield this Ice Beam, obviously. This is a mistake, I guess. But, I mean, Drapion, yeah, kind of doesn't have enough health, so I'd only be able to throw 1 move anyway. Okay. So I'm going to shield this Ice Beam also. Umbreon is going to come out. I'm going to throw this Aqua Tail. It will just barely not KO, I think. Yeah, survives with 1 HP, which is rough for me because that means it's actually going to get to throw this Foul Play, which is, yeah. So I don't have a lot of health left, and I don't have any shields at all. Yeah, I do have energy on both of my Pokemon in the back that have, like, no HP, and I have energy on this Pokemon that has, like, no HP. So let's throw this Aqua Tail. They no shield. I swap in Azu, and I am going to just throw an Ice Beam. I get a shield. They could have just, like, bullet punched me down, but he switches out into his own Azu, which actually, gives him some energy, but gives me enough time to reach this Play Rough, doing quite a bit of damage to Azu. This Azu has energy, but, I mean, I'm going to bring out I'm going to bring out Drapion and just spam out a charge move. I opt for Crunch for whatever reason. Could definitely have thrown Sludge Bomb, but I think I couldn't remember if I had it or not. Either way, that's enough to KO. Scissor's going to come back out. And I'm actually able to spam out this Aqua Tail because Dragalge wins CMP, and I'm able to take that game at the timeout moment. Damn. What a game. So managed to go 4-1 in that set. Just barely. That was a really narrow victory in the end, but that was an amazing game. I'm sorry to pat myself on the back so much. But yeah, that was nice. So claim that and go up to 3206. And yeah, let's hop into the next set. All right, next up against Pie-Cow. Drapion into Marowak. Marowak is not very common. I think because of how many poison darks there are that have crunch. But my opponent's going to swap out into Qwilfish, and that is fine. I'm going to bring out Dragalge. I opt to shield the first move, expecting that it would have been a Sludge Wave, but it was an Ice Beam, so definitely good shield by me. I tried to throw an Aqua Tail before he got a move off, but I'm going to end up having to eat that Ice Beam, which is not ideal. I mean, I could have shielded it. My opponent is going to shield the Aqua Tail, which means I'm going to get to throw another Aqua Tail. And now that he's committed one shield, I feel it's likely they'll commit a second, and that's fine. Because, I mean, Azu and Drapion are both great answers to Alolan Marowak. So I'm going to end up having to eat an Aqua Tail here, which is, you know, damage that I didn't want to take, but all right. And at this point, I'm super committed, so I am just going to shield this next Aqua Tail so that I don't end up with too low energy in case there's another Poison Jabber in the back. And there's actually a Toxicroak back there. Was trying to spam out my move, but for whatever reason, I was throwing some Poison Stings instead, even though I was definitely tapping the charge move. Built up a little bit more energy and then switch out to Azu. My opponent is going to stay in until they can throw this Sludge Bomb, which does a lot, but my Azu is pretty XL, so survives. And yeah, they are staying in, so I'm just going to spam out this Ice Beam literally as soon as I have it. I don't want to risk getting hit with another move. It is enough to take them out. And yeah, now Marowak is going to come back in. I have a Crunch loaded up on Dragalge on Drapion already, so all I need to do is get this Marowak down into Crunch range, because Drapion will win CMP anyway. My opponent is trying to build up extra energy, maybe thinking that my Drapion isn't quite there, so he wants to have a move ready. Throws one Shadow Bone, and I have plenty of energy, so I'm just going to spam out this Crunch, and that is going to take Alolan Marowak out and manage to take that game. That's a GG. All right, here we go. Drapion into Zweilous. So we saw this earlier on. Hopefully I play this out a little bit better. I am going to swap out to Dragalge right away, and my opponent is staying in. So I am not throwing my Aqua Tail yet. I'm just going to wait a little bit more. I'm going to end up shielding this Body Slam, which is okay. And they switch out at the last second to a Zoomeril, trying to catch my Aqua Tail. I'm going to throw an Aqua Tail anyway after I build up past the Gunk Shot. And the reason for this is twofold. I mean, for one, I'm baiting, yes, but also if I throw the Gunk Shot first, they are super safe to just farm me the whole way down. Whereas, you know, if I don't, it could have either pushed them to throw their energy so they wouldn't end up so loaded, or, you know, they would end up having to shield again or not and just eating a Gunk Shot. So Ozzy takes a huge, huge trash can to the face. I'm fine with that. And I'm going to bring out my own Azu. Excuse me. So, obviously no shielding, all of these moves. I think Azu had actually thrown Ice Beam, anticipating that Drapion would come back out, but that's fine. Both of them would hit Drapion for neutral anyway, so Play Rough is more efficient. And there's a Golbat in the back, so thank goodness I brought Azu out and farmed the whole way down. Now I'm able to throw this Ice Beam. Even Shadow Golbat, it doesn't, like, KO. I'm going to build up a little bit extra before throwing this Ice Beam. Not too worried about my opponent trying to make a catch. I'm going to switch out the last second to try to catch a Shadow Ball, and they end up not throwing it, which is fine, I guess. I'm going to have to take this Poison Fang. And Zweilous is going to come back out, and we lag a bunch, so I don't get to throw my move on time, which sucks. So I'm going to end up having to shield this, which is unfortunate. And yeah, I already clicked on the Crunch, so here the Crunch goes. Would definitely preferred to throw this 2 Poison Stings earlier so I'd still have a shield and be completely safe, but that's not how it happened, and that's just the game. Gonna end up having actually being taken out by this Shadow Ball, even though it's not very effective. You know, Shadow Golbat does hit kind of hard, and yeah, I had banked an Ice Beam on Azu for whatever reason because I thought they were gonna throw at the time. So you know, instead of I was trying to make a catch instead of throwing that and throwing the game, if they had thrown. But yeah, able to take out Golbat, and I managed to take that game. But that was closer than it needed to be. All right, dropping on into Qwilfish. This is a Poison Sting Qwilfish, so there's, you know, no fast move pressure anymore coming from either of our Pokemon. But the Aqua Tails do hurt. Like, I'll be able to survive 2 of them, and they won't be able to survive 2 crunches. And since it's 4 Poison Stings to the Aqua Tail and 5 Poison Stings to the crunch, yeah, I'll easily be able to outpace as long as I don't or not really outpace, but I'll easily be able to take out Qwilfish or force a shield as long as I don't shield the first moves. And yeah, they're just going to opt to let it go. So I do recognize that my Drapion is in farm down range. Umbreon's going to come out. I'm going to build up a little bit extra energy, giving them an opportunity to throw on their first foul play opportunity. They didn't take it, and at this point, I'm just going to farm up more and throw more. Like, waiting until Umbreon has the throw energy just to get rid of me. It's just really hard to snarl down a Drapion. And now I'm going to bring out Azu, which kind of walls the little bit of energy that the Umbreon had, and the Umbreon has taken a decent amount of damage. My opponent's going to switch into Jellicent, so I'm going to stay in for a bit. At least until I kind of try to determine moveset, which doesn't make a ton of sense because, I mean, the only way I could determine moveset is if they were actually to throw a Bubble Beam bait. Actually switch out and manage to catch a Shadow Ball on Drapion, which is nice, but not like necessary. And yeah, I can and definitely should shield this, so I do. It's another Shadow Ball, so that tells me this Jellicent actually is running Bubble Beam. I'm just going to go straight Gunk Shot here. It just seems like a lot of extra energy, but I mean, I figured they would no shield knowing that they would survive an Aqua Tail and that they were already low. But since I got that shield, now I'm just going to let that go. And I just barely don't make it to my move, but that's all right. Azu's going to come back out. I can shield this. There's a chance that it would end up being a Bubble Beam bait because I've only seen Shadow Ball so far. But, like, that's fine. Regardless, Umbreon's going to have to come back out, and all I really have to do is throw 1 Play Rough, and I think 1 Ice Beam. Yeah, 1 Play Rough, 1 Ice Beam would be plenty. I have way too much health for Umbreon to take out. So, I mean, the idea behind sending Dragalge in after I got that 1 shield was just that I can do so much damage with Dragon Tail to that Jellicent that that I'd be able to do enough Dragon Tail damage before my shields ran out. Because all I needed to do was get rid of that, and Azu would be completely safe. All right, Mandibuzz in the lead again. This time I don't lose 1 turn by desyncing, and actually start throwing my Poison Stings at the same time they start throwing their moves. So I'm just going to go straight Sludge Bomb. Obviously, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to try to throw a Crunch. It's not like Mandibuzz would shield, and even if you were to throw the Crunch and get the debuff, I think you'd still have to throw 3 more moves after that. Crunch just really doesn't do anything to Mandibuzz. So I'm just going to throw this next Sludge Bomb. And I don't think I've lost any turns this game. So yeah, I can just no-shield this. And if your Drapion has good IVs, mine is rank number 10, then I'm able to get to this Sludge Bomb just fine. I throw 2 Poison Stings before throwing it so that, yeah, they wouldn't be able to catch, and so that I would be as low as possible for something to come out and farm down with. Turns out to be a Drapion, which actually gets a decent amount of farm anyway, just because, you know, Poison Sting doesn't do anything, so you can get a lot of farm out of very little health. Gonna bring out my Dragalge, and I am going to no-shield the first Crunch, and they switch into Shadow Scissors, so I'm going to throw this Aqua Tail, because it hits for neutral and does pretty substantial damage. And then I'm going to switch out to Azu after that. And yeah, my plan at this point is just to no-shield Azu no matter what, and save my shields for Dragalge. Like, I could even have stayed in a little bit longer with Dragalge and tried to catch a Night Slash on Azu. That actually would have been best, because Dragalge is in crunch range, and having taken more damage, it's not like it would put him more in crunch range. And it's not like I can be poison stinged down either. So yeah, I could have stayed in longer. Like all I do is just farm down. Drapion is going to come out. That's fine. I'm just going to throw Aqua Tails, and I'm going to shield whatever comes out. Most likely they're going to go, actually throw the crunches trying to get those debuffs. But even if you get the crunch debuffs, it just doesn't help Poison Sting to do enough damage that they'd be able to farm me down. Like there, they get the defense drop. It makes like no measurable difference or no visible difference. And yeah, I'm just going to be able to reach this Aqua Tail, take out the Drapion, and I managed to take that game. GG. All right, last game, I think, against Abtronic. Dropping into Azu. This is actually a very strong lead. Finally, I haven't been getting a ton of really good leads. My opponent brings in a Wormadam, and I'm going to stay in for a bit. I'm going to throw this Crunch here. At the end of their fourth Confusion, they can't have reached a charge move yet. They're going to let it go, and I'm going to try to switch out to catch an Iron Head or something on my Azu, or, well, a Bug Buzz on my Azu would be amazing. Not going to happen, so I am going to take these neutral Iron Heads, but I definitely needed to stay in and throw that Crunch with Drapion in order to get this Wormadam down into like a farmable range. Basically, the Confusions just do too much to Azu, so if you switch Azu into a Wormadam right away, there's definitely a chance that Wormadam could win switch there. And yeah, my opponent's going to actively swap in his own Azu. So that's fine. I'm glad I had built up a little bit of energy. I'm going to throw this energy just to kind of stall out the switch clock a little bit. And, I mean, at this point, I ended up having to make the decision that, you know what, this Azu has too much energy, so I'm just going to spam out my moves and wait for Azu to throw, because then at least they won't have too much. And, yeah, actually get a shield off of that play rough. I think maybe my opponent is anticipating that I'm weak to Azu in the back. And after they throw, because it was an Ice Beam, I don't want to get farmed down, I'm going to actively swap out into my Drapion, on which I have plenty of energy lead already. I get one shield off of that Sludge Bomb, and that is fine, so I'm going to shield this because I have two shields, and Play Rough will hurt. And my opponent is going to switch out to a Forretress. So, all right. So Forretress knows Earthquake, so that is a bit scary, but charging it off of Bug Bite, it does take a while, so this can only be a Mirror Shot. I'm not going to shield the Mirror Shot. They get the attack drop, which is unfortunate for me, but that's all right. This Crunch is going to do less, but it's still only going to take one more Crunch. But since my switch timer was up and I was debuffed, I just switch out to Dragalge, and I'm just going to spam out this Aqua Tail as soon as I've got it so that I don't have to feel any threat from Earthquake. It's going to take out Forretress. Azu is going to come out, which makes a lot of sense. I'm not quite in Ice Beam range yet, but I'm getting really close. But, I mean, I'm going to no-shield anyway. Switches out to Wormadam and actually makes that Snipe, taking me out with a Confusion. Unfortunate for me. I'm going to bring out Drapion. I'm going to have to shield this move as an Iron Head. But I'm going to build up some extra energy until I feel like I can't afford to build up more energy anymore. Going to throw this Crunch here. It's going to take Wormadam out. Azu comes back out. I just need to reach this Sludge Bomb, and I'm able to do it because Azu just, Azu Charge is kind of slow. So, yeah. Able to land the Sludge Bomb, and I'm able to take that game at nearly a timeout again. I didn't think that this team was going to get so close to being to running out the clock, but yeah, it's gotten pretty close a couple of times in these sets. So I get a Giratina, which is fantastic. Much better than getting a Rhydon or whatever else I got in the first set. I don't remember. Yeah, gonna skip that catch. And I am going to go up to 3267, which is pretty decent. Puts me at number 52 on the leaderboard. Like I said, I had started this particular day out, or the day before, I guess, on like page 9 or something. And moving up to page 2 in the course of a day is a pretty decent lead. I have actually continued to run the same team, and I am still climbing with it. Currently on page 1, number 30, I think, and tomorrow I should be a little bit higher than that, unless a lot of people pass me, which could also happen. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to do the things that you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You know you're supposed to do them. Please do the things. It would help me out a whole lot. Also, come watch me on Twitch because I'm getting close to reaching partner and I need every eyeball I can get. I will see you guys when I see you.